liability if that horse was to cause injury or even death, because you need to make sure the correct insurance is in place. And three, just understand how decisions are made, and do you trust those decision makers? Because some syndicates, if they've got a lot of people, you can't possibly ask everyone to contribute into the decision making process. But perhaps smaller syndicates might be easier to do so. So you must understand how those decisions are made. But I think there are so many really well-run clubs that there's a wealth of opportunities to get involved in ownership. And syndicates are such a fantastic way to do it. And because of the pandemic and things like Zoom, forums, actually, in a way, being a member of a syndicate now is almost a better experience than being a sole owner.
Well, Dan, that's lovely. 3 pearls of positive wisdom there, which I know Phil and I will embrace. And for anybody thinking of getting involved, that's absolutely the perfect advert. Thank you. Look, really, really thank you so much for your time today. Just want to wish you good luck with the Grand National and the rest of the season. Thanks, Dan.
Great. Thanks very much.
Well, what a great guest Dan was, Phil. Eloquent and incisive as ever.
He was. I really enjoyed that interview, Simon. He was... It was interesting to hear his backstory, which I must admit I've known Dan for a long time and never really actually spoken to him about that stuff. So I found that really interesting. And I hope that the listeners will have found it similarly interesting. And I understand you've lined up a really good guest for us next month as Amy Murphy, the racehorse trainer, is joining us. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. We've got Amy Murphy, who's a dual-purpose trainer at Newmarket, so she trains on the flat and over the jumps. Her Kalashnikov ran really well, went 4th at the Cheltenham Festival, so we'll be talking to her about Kalashnikov and some of her stable stars. So really pleased to have Amy on. I know she's really looking forward to it.
That's great. I am as well. And I guess all that really remains for us to do before we sign off is to remind people that in order to keep us growing, it would be lovely if people can follow the podcast on their preferred podcast platform. And if you feel positive about us, perhaps give us a rating or a review as well, because that'll all help to boost us along and keep the really interesting guests flowing.
Well, that just leaves me to thank co-host Phil Boyle, special guest Dan Abraham, chair of the RSA, and thank you to them for sponsoring Inside the Rails, producer Callum Ronan from Callum Ronan Creative, and you, the listeners. The days are getting longer, owners are going back to the racecourse, and the flat season is here. Goodbye.